Hello and welcome to episode 18 of Unemployed to Unstoppable. We've had a fantastic 4 seasons and we've finally got ourselves into Europe, so let's try and rebuild the squad and see if we can make a real effort in making an impact in Europe and hopefully setting ourselves up for a great job opportunity in the future. So stay tuned. Welcome back. So first thing to go through really is the squad planner. I've played through it with it already. I've sorted out what players we've got for the season, and I think it's quite clear from the word go where we need to strengthen. So like we've hinted to before, I think a first team left back and right back, so we strengthen the full back positions. Simmett's pretty good at the right. I think he's still got development potential to be a first teamer, but Bence Bardos on the left, probably not quite up to scratch. Goalkeeper wise, I think Carlo Sentic is perfectly fine. He won goalkeeper of the year last year. We just need an understudy to him, so either a youth player or a loanee. I think we're generally all right in the middle of the park. Again, if an opportunity presents itself, we'll take it, but it's not somewhere we need to concentrate on first. Likewise for the wings, leaving us that kind of critical point up front where Jurgens is a great player. I think he's still got more potential to realise, but I think we really need to bring in somebody to challenge him. Certainly, so if someone's scoring goals, they play. If they're not scoring goals, we have an opportunity to drop them until they come out. How I normally go about my transfers then is I like to use my scout system, so I generally come and look at what the scouted players are. It's not always necessarily done on this screen. I'll normally do them on the scouting screen first, but there's none on there at the minute. So what I do is I tend to go through here and I'll look at any players first and foremost that are highly on the recommended or have a high ability. And then like say Liam Bennett there, I would look to bring him in on loan, on trial, and see what he looks like. I mean, on paper straight away he looks like he probably would be a player that fits in at that right back position, but we'll get him on trial first just so we can suss out his attributes and see how he fits in against the rest of the squad. The scouting centre did have about 68 players in it. I've already clicked through them. What I've done is I've offered trials to a wide number of players, so there's a really good goalkeeper in here. He could be a potential challenger for Sentic or a reserve for him. Again, there's lots of strikers. There's a left back in there, Lewis Richards. Again, he looks like he might be a challenger for Bence Bardos at left back. Again, Sammy Robinson at right back. He looks like he could be a player as well. And it's going to come down to what we can do in terms of wages. We don't have a lot in terms of transfer fee, but we can make a few signings and play about with the wage budget a little bit. And then the only one I found so far in terms of a striker is Aaron Leia Iseka, a pressing forward. He looks alright stats wise, but what we'll do is get him in and compare him to Jurgens, have a look how he is in terms of playing that position of advanced forward. So what I'll do is I'll click through them and get them in. We'll see which ones we're going to offer some contracts to, and what we'll do is when the next batch of scout recommendations come in, I'll just take you through what I'll do. I'll tend to make a short list. If I can find my shortlist on here, and this is what I've generally come up with. So as you can see, all the ones in orange, I've kind of put in trial bids for them already and had a look at them. So again, a huge number of players will get in, and we'll just repeat this process over and over again until we fill the positions we want. And then we'll probably look in the loan market as well if anything presents itself, just to flesh out the squad. We didn't really use the loan market as well as we could have last season. It could have maybe been the difference between making a real challenge with Ferencváros. But I think this time if we can get that striker and we can get the fullback sorted out, we might be able to push them right up until the end. It's going to be hard to oust them because they are the biggest club in the division by a country mile. Their wage budget far exceeds ours and they've won the season, I think, the last 8 or 9 times in a row. So a very difficult task on our hands. But let's see what we can do. So I'll click through. I'll bring back when there's any players confirmed as transfers, and I'll also bring you back when we go through the scouted players again. Welcome back. So as I said before, just to give you an insight into how I generally kind of look at my transfers using the scouting system, is I'll regularly get a scouting update. This is the screen I'll generally look at, and the kind of things I'm looking at is the current ability. Has to be, for me, Division 1 standard because that's the division I'm playing in. Ideally a little bit of potential in there. And in the bottom right, you can see it's got a comparison to other players in that position. So for Javan Anderson, as an example, I mean, he's in 32, so he's a little bit on the elderly age from what I would generally take in as a player. Looking at an attacking fullback position, he's only marginally better than Simmett in terms of current ability, but Simmett's potential ability is higher. So in terms of signing him, it's not something that I would generally be looking at because it commands a transfer fee of 200,000. I wouldn't look at him. I wouldn't reject him long term in case he ever becomes available on a free or a loan, but I generally wouldn't go for him. This kind of signing, a Billy Krellin, I mean, as a goalkeeper, 3.5-star current ability, no transfer value because he's not got a club, obtainable wage budget, he'd be more likely for me to go for him. However, I know that there's been bids in for him already in England, so it's unlikely we would get him, and we've got another goalkeeper on trial anyway. So I would generally just filter my way through these. So Mail de Gavany, again, 3.5-star, a centre half. He's a free agent. We don't know that much about him, so do you know what? Let's bring him in on a trial. Finlay McAllister, Birmingham, highly recommended. More on his potential and his current ability, but for 650,000 to 1.4 million, it's money we don't have. So although the scouts are picking him up as a brilliant signing for the future, he's not one we would currently look at this stage. Again, Charlie Lennon, I'd dismiss him just for transfer value. Buckter we've previously had. Again, we're not looking for wingers. Fullback from Dundee, but it's going to command the transfer fee. And that's generally how I work my way through there. So we can see Ellis Sims there, free transfer up front. Again, myself as an Everton fan, I know exactly who he is. So what we would probably look to do is offer him a trial, get him in and see what he looks like. And if I just click through, it looks like they're going to agree. And I'll show you the screen that I generally look at next. Is you get them in on trial, and you get a very quick pricey on the day they arrive. So he's a regular starter. He's like 3.5 star, could become a leading Division 1 player. Sims, star player who could improve to 3.5 star already, possibly a star player for this squad. And then what you do is you go to your squad view, sort it by ability, and you can see where these players sit. So already you can see we've got 4 players in there who sit at a current ability higher than anyone in our squad. And they're the players that we'll probably potentially look at making a contract for. Certainly Ellis Sims is already making an immediate snap to someone we might show a bit of interest in for some goals up front. So I'll carry on clicking through, I'll carry on offering some contracts, and as and when we sign anybody, I'll come back and let you know who the new signings are. Welcome back. So the transfer window, as far as we're concerned, is pretty much over. It's not gone as well as can be expected. We've had to drop out a few transfers. I'll take you through why in a minute. We still have strengthened in certain areas, more in terms of building out the squad than bringing in a fantastic player, but I think overall a successful transfer window, but not the ideal transfer window, is probably the best way to sum it up. So first player we brought in is Mark Helm, attacking midfielder, came in on a free transfer. He's a kind of backup slash rotational player with Valakari. Now that we're playing an attacking midfielder just behind the striker, we need some strength in that area. And Mark Helm comes in to fill that void. He's also capable of playing in the mid-centre midfield if need to, so that just adds a little boost of squad to it. So you can already see he's worth 425,000 to 1.2 million. So if he did come in, someone made a bid for him and he went, it's not the end of the world. It would be a bit of a money maker, but at the same time it's strengthened as a squad for that European run we've got coming up. Then we've got Kun Temen Zekov. He's coming as a striker. The much needed competition for Jurgens. In terms of current ability, he's round about the same. Potential, he's maybe a little bit less, but I think he's going to be that rotational player, the one to kind of hold Jurgens to account. So if he's not scoring goals, we can pull him out the firing line, get Temen Nukaskov on. It'd be hard for me to say that. I need to find a nickname for him, and rotate it about a bit. So that's kind of strength in that area. Timotei Hraneka, he's coming as a reserve right back. We brought him in on loan because Simmett suffered a broken leg, unfortunately. I'll take you through that injury in a minute when we get to the squad planner. With him breaking his leg, that meant we had no right backs whatsoever. Obviously Nagy left at the end of the season when his contract expired, so with Simmett not being there, we had nobody. We could have had Zahani in there, but I really want him to kind of stay in that centre defence position. And the final player we brought in, just in the last one we've signed really, is Liam Bennett. He comes in as a right back as well, but he's a much more experienced player. He's already a Division 1 standard player. He's probably better than Simmet, and he's got a little bit of potential as well. So again, it's strengthening but squad building at the same time. Players that have gone out Kusk's gone out on loan as a centre half, but he was never really going to get in our squad. What that means in terms of the squad planner then is we've got Sentic in goals. We did line up another goalkeeper who was slightly better than Sentic, but he was going to take up a big chunk of the wage budget. And ultimately, once we had the broken leg to Simmet, we had to opt out of that transfer and use the wages elsewhere to flesh out the squad in more concerning areas. That's meant we've brought Zolt Horvath out from the youth team. He is nowhere near good enough. We might well look, if there's any wages left at the end of the window, loaning somebody in to cover that gap, but that's where we are at the minute. In terms of left back, Liam Bennett, who is our new right back, he can play left back as well, so when Simmet comes back in, Bennett can swap to the left, so we're still getting two good players in there. Bent Spardos will be there as a kind of first team initially while Bennett's playing at the right back, and then he will step us to an understudy when Bennett's in there. And we've got Haranica, he can play both sides as well, so that sorts out the full-back positions. In terms of centre-halves, we've got Sexadi, Zahari as the kind of main two. You've got Kasongvai when we've got excess in midfield to come back and step into that position. Pushtai, who's our young centre-half, now he's starting to develop into a player that might be able to get some game time soon now. He's actually been tipped to be one of the top young players of the division, so we did have another centre-half lined up on a free transfer, but again we pulled out. There he is there, Kakpa Lapata. I actually thought he might fit into the first team. He's got good height on him, good jumping reach, etc. But we had to pull out of that to move the wage budget around. That's not to say we won't go back in for him. There's always the possibility. But I think at the minute we're just going to have to go with the 4 that we've got and drop him off the chart. In terms of centre mid, we're quite strong in that area. We've got Krasongvai, Bate, Kasonka and Vey as the main 4 with Helm. Can he also drop back into that area to cover any kind of injury gaps or fatigue. Attacking midfielder, we've got Valakari as the first choice. Helm is the understudy. And we've got Christoph Biro, a 15-year-old from the youth team. He's come up. He's already a 1-star ability and he's got a bit of potential, so I've just put him up to flesh out the squad. In terms of the left-hand side, we've got Korb, who's a standout first starter. We've got Halmai out there, Kovacs, Pinter can come across, and then Ransibia as well. Largely the same on the right-hand side. I mean, it's got Mark Helm can play there, but he's never going to play in that position. But you've got 5 players playing for 2 spots, really, which is quite strong. And up top, we've got Ollie Jurgens and Temenzikov as the top 2. So not too bad. In terms of media predictions, etc., I think we're still at 150 to 1, which we were last season. Yeah, so that's just where we are, really. I don't think we're going to go up too much in terms of signing players. In terms of the budget, then, we've got no transfer budget. We've got 5.2k per week left. There is a player on the hook, so James McGarry we're trying to bring on loan from Aberdeen on a 6-month period, just to kind of come in and be that first teamer at a Division 1 standard to give us a bit more of an attacking impetus. Penny was in there, but they wanted to tie us into a future fee of 100,000, which I'm not prepared to do. What that then means is we're ready for our first foray into European football with an away game at Kukuriki. So that should be a good episode, a good match to end the episode on. Get some players out there, get some debuts on the pitch and see if we can kick off the European journey with a winning start. In terms of jobs and things that are available, I haven't gone for anything. There's only the jobs in the Finnish First Division there, so MP and ETH, which I don't think we would really necessarily go for. But certainly as the season goes on and you start to see some of the job securities drop down, get a bit more insecure, we may look at an opportunity either in England or in one of the other major countries. So a lot to go through. I'll click us through to the first game of the season. We'll step into our first foray in Europe. We'll all cross our fingers. We'll all hope that Jurgens finally breaks that kind of potential duck that he's got and see if we can get off to a winning start. So stay tuned. Welcome back. So here we go. Squad for the first game Budafok have in Europe against Kukuriki. We are struggling a little bit for fitness. We've come through some pre-season friendlies. Not everyone is fully fit yet, so we've worked the squad around that. So starting lineup for today then is Sentic in goals as our only real first choice goalkeeper. Got a back four of McGarry, who we've just secured in on loan. Showed you previously, New Zealand lad on loan from Aberdeen. So he comes in for an immediate start. Pushtai and Zahari making up the centre halves, with Haranika coming in at right back. Midfield, three of Kasongvai, Helm and Valakari. Helm already being useful in terms of fleshing out that mid-term squad in the middle of the park. Then we've got Aran Sibir on the right, Helmai on the left, and Jurgen starting up top. I mean, the prediction from our fan base and the management team is a draw, but I think we could probably go and do a little bit better than that. Certainly if we get a good start, but we will see how the game pans out. Let's get everyone out there. I think we'll want to score the first goal. Don't see why we're not capable. What sort of match we're looking for. I think, yeah, we're confident. We'll see though, we're coming up against the flat 4-4-2. First game in Europe, so we've got the Europa League kind of icons, etc. up there. So the scoreboard looks slightly different. My first game in Europe in FM24 as McGarry delivers in a free kick. Comes out to Jurgens, who's sat deep. He'll feed it down the left to Pushtai. Feeds it into Helmai, but he's unfortunately not able to get it into the box. And the ball gets kicked out long for a break. Luther comes into the box and his strike goes over the bar. So we get a chance from a free kick, a little bit threatening, but they manage to get a counter-attack. So we've got to be wary of that. In terms of shots, they're winning and getting a little bit too much space. It might be a little bit of nerves because we're only just in Europe for the first time, but hopefully we can get through that as McGarry gets the ball down the left-hand side. Getting a good start into the team. Helm drives the ball forward, but he's lost it. Jurovic for them down the left-hand side. Luther gets a chance, and we've gone a goal down after 25 minutes. So not the start we were looking for. Got to remember, it is only the first leg, so I don't want to panic too much. We don't have our full team out there, but that interception for Kasongva, just unfortunate. It's broke to Luther, and they slammed the ball past Centich. So not the start we were looking for. Not the European holiday we were anticipating, as Centich plays the ball out from the back again. This time down the right hand side, Haranika. Aran Sibir beats his man and drives forward, gets to the edge of the box, cuts it back to Valakari, but that's quite a tame shot into the goalkeeper's hands. Could have done a little bit better than that. Jurgens through to Valakari again, he gets a second chance. This time he makes no mistake. Valakari gets off on his first goal of the season. There we go, into Jurgens, 1-2 with Valakari. He drives to the edge of the box and slots the left foot into the middle of the goals. Not the greatest of finishes, but it didn't need to be. He's beat his man, he's got us back on level pegging. And Budafok get their first goal in Europe, so let's blow the whistles and give a round of applause to the players for that one. Now we need to go on and kind of take the ascendancy into the game and make sure we get the next goal, because we don't want to go straight back behind. And as he says it, we've let a goal in almost straight away. Stefanovic with a header at not even the back post really. I mean, Filipovic goes down the right hand side. It's much too easy for him to get the cross in. I'd like to think we would get that cleared. Stefanovic jumps, his marker doesn't, and it's Centich picking the ball out of an empty net again. So not ideal, actually kind of similar. We have got a little bit of edge on possession. We'll have to swap a couple tired players around. McGarry not having the greatest of starts, but it's his first game on loan, bit of a baptism of fire. So I don't think we've really done anything too wrong. We'll get out for the second half. Jurgen's not playing too bad. Helmai not having the best of games on the left hand side. So we'll just see if we can get Corbu on there. He's not fully fit, but he would normally be our starter. As the ball goes to Helm at the edge of the box, Aran Sibir, he picks up the loose ball. He gets off the mark for the season as well. So back to 2-2. Helm flicks the ball out wide to McGarry, who wasn't having the best of games. Helm fires in a shot, flicks around the box a bit. Aran Sibir picks it up, and he's just fortunate that he gets the rebound in and tucks it into the net before the keeper can get up and react. We will continue with a change. We'll get Helmai off and bring Corbu on for a bit more of an attacking threat down that left hand side as we're robbed again. Hopefully we're not going to go straight back down and lose another goal. Hit the post and we get it away. So we've survived a little bit of a scare there, to get level again and then go down. Well, Ollie Jurgens picked up an injury. potential foot injury. Let's hope it's nothing too serious. We'll get Temenezkov on for his debut, and hopefully he can be the difference. Not really seen him too much in terms of the friendlies yet. So the free kick goes in and Sentic tips it wide. An hour into the game, 2-2. A draw wouldn't be the end of the world because we can regroup and hopefully get some fitness for a stronger first team when we go back for the second leg and we have it at home. 25 minutes to go. Again, we'll just shout a little bit of encouragement. Maybe look to make another change. McGarry's tiring at left back. Get Ben Spardos on there. See if he can just drive something up the left. Helm brings it to the edge of the box. Comes into Pushtai. It was a lovely little flick into his feet, but he's been offside. And what a moment that would have been for the youngster coming through the youth system and then getting a goal in Europe. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be. So we hit the final 5 minutes. We've got the ball just inside our own half. Ball goes forward to Helm. He's not had a bad game. Valakari's lost the ball. And there's been a bit of a theme. We've lost the ball in the middle of the park a couple of times. Haven't won it back and we've gone on to be punished. This time we've escaped any kind of recompense for it. And as we hit 9 minutes, so I was looking for the injury time there. It's moved slightly. Looks like we've got a 2-2 draw. Fairly respectable. It's what a lot of the fans and the club expected us to get. I think we should have won looking at the numbers, and I think on a day with a stronger team we can. I think it's Jurgen's injury. I'm going to go optimistic and hope it's not another horrific one. I mean, Simits broke his leg. He's out for months. If we have something similar to Jurgen's, we don't have the budget to bring in many more players. So, twisted ankle, 5 weeks to 2 months. We're going to have to send him to the physio. We're going to have to let Kun come in and take the burden up front. Kasongwai 2 to 3 days. I mean, Jurgens was on form for that, but unfortunately he's picked up the injury. But yeah, not the start we wanted, but 2-2 is not the end of the world. What we'll do is I'll play through the next set of games. I'll try and see if we get through that second leg. I'll try and tie us into the next European game with a league game. If we for some reason go out of that, which we might well do, I'll probably tie it in with the Hungarian Cup and the Ferencváros game because they're going to be our main challenges. Hopefully you've enjoyed the episode. The transfer window wasn't as good as maybe last season. It wasn't bad. We've certainly fleshed out and made the squad better. Just not necessarily stronger in specific positions. But we'll see. Hopefully you've enjoyed the episodes. Hopefully you've been enjoying the series. I still will be on the lookout for a job because I think we're a bit restrained with the wage budget and transfer budget at Budafok, and I'd like to get somewhere with a little bit more competitive edge at the top end of the table. Let me know what you think in the comment section, whether you think it's a good idea or you think we should stay at Budafok a little bit longer. And then until the next episode, take care and I'll see you all soon.